Today we dive into the life, the courage, the strategy, and the tragic end of Wu Guang, the true architect of the revolt that broke the Qin Empire's iron grip. Let us start with the world that forged Wu Guang. The Qin Dynasty under Qin Shi Huang had unified China for the first time, creating a centralized authoritarian state built on strict legalist laws, endless forced labor, and brutal punishment. When Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BCE, a ruthless conspiracy unfolded. Zhao Gao, the corrupt eunuch, and Li Si, the ambitious prime minister, forged the emperor's will, killed the rightful heir, Prince Fusu, and placed the weak, cruel Hu Hai on the throne as the second emperor. Under Hu Hai, oppression reached a fever pitch. Taxes skyrocketed, hundreds of thousands of men were forced to build the Epang Palace, and the first emperor's mausoleum and laws were enforced with unchecked cruelty. For common peasants like Wu Guang, life was a cycle of starvation, labor, and fear. There was no justice, no mercy, no escape. Wu Guang was born to a poor farming family in Yangxia, modern-day Taikang County, in Henan Province. Historical records give him the courtesy name Shu, and they paint a clear picture. He was not a born revolutionary, but a man who cared for others, earned the respect of his peers, and kept his head down until the state pushed him too far. In the 7th month of 209 BCE, the Qing government issued a new order conscript, 900 poor men from the left side of the village, the lowest class of peasants, to march north, to Yuyang, near modern-day Beijing, to guard against Xiongnu raids. Wu Guang and another peasant named Chen Sheng were chosen as Tunjiang low-level squad leaders, tasked with keeping the group in line under the watch of 2 imperial military officers. The journey was long, dangerous, and completely voluntary, for no one. The men marched for weeks, exhausted, hungry, and terrified of what awaited them at the border. Then, disaster struck. A massive, unrelenting rainstorm hit Dazexiang. Rivers flooded roads, washed away, and the group was trapped. They could not move forward, and they could not meet their deadline. For 2,000 years, the world believed one simple, brutal fact. According to Qin law, missing the deadline meant execution for all. But modern archaeology has uncovered a shocking twist. In 1975, the Shui Hudi Qin bamboo slips were unearthed in Hubei province, written by a low-ranking Qin official named Shi. The Yaov, or law of corvée labor, clearly states that missing a corvée deadline brought only fines or scolding, never death. Even better, if rain made travel impossible, the conscription was cancelled entirely. So, why did Wu Guang and Chen Sheng believe they were going to die? The answer is not a mistake. It is a political strategy, a calculated lie, that would turn 900 terrified men into an army. Wu Guang was the heart of this plan. Historical records from Sima Qian, records of the Grand Historian, note that Wu Guang was kind to others, and many soldiers were willing to follow him. He was the trusted one, the man the 900 peasants looked to for comfort. Chen Sheng was the visionary, but Wu Guang was the organizer, the motivator, the man who could make the rebellion real. One night, as rain hammered their makeshift camp, the 2 men met in secret. "If we run away, we will be hunted down and killed," Chen Sheng said. "If we stage a great rebellion, we might still die, but we will die for something." Wu Guang did not hesitate. He saw the same truth. Chen Sheng saw these men had nothing left to lose. The Qin Empire had taken their homes, their labor, their dignity. Death in rebellion was better than death by execution. Together, they crafted a plan that combined psychological warfare, religious symbolism, and bold violence. First, they planted a silk scroll with the words, "Chen Sheng will be king," inside the belly of a fish. When a soldier bought the fish for dinner and found the scroll, panic and wonder spread through the camp. That night, Wu Guang sneaked to a nearby ancient temple, lit a bonfire, and hid in the trees, mimicking the cry of a fox, "Great Chu will rise." Chen Sheng will be king in ancient China. Peasants deeply believed in signs from heaven. The fox's cry and the fish's scroll convinced every man that heaven itself had ordered them to rebel. Wu Guang's role here was critical. He did not seek glory for himself. He let Chen Sheng take the divine spotlight, knowing that a single unifying figure would rally the men more effectively. This was not modesty, it was brilliant strategy. The next step was the final trigger. Wu Guang knew the 2 imperial officers were arrogant, cruel, and easily provoked. As the men grew restless, Wu Guang openly announced that he planned to escape, knowing the officers would punish him. When one officer drew his whip and beat Wu Guang, the peasants roared with anger. Wu Guang grabbed the officer's sword, wrestled it away, and killed him with a single strike. Chen Sheng rushed forward and killed the second officer. In one bloody decisive moment, Wu Guang had cut the men's last tie to the Qin Empire. There was no going back. Standing atop a small mound, his clothes stained with mud and blood, Wu Guang and Chen Sheng addressed the 900 men. Chen Sheng shouted the words that would echo through Chinese history: "Kingdoms and nobles, are they born with a divine right?" Wu Guang stood beside him, silent but steady, his presence reinforcing every word. The men roared in agreement. They cut their right sleeves to show loyalty, called themselves Great Chu, and swore an oath with the officers' heads as a sacrifice. Chen Sheng named himself general, and Wu Guang became Du Wei, a high military commander, the second in command of the first peasants' rebel army in China. What happened next was extraordinary. The rebellion spread like wildfire. Peasants across the region had suffered under Qin oppression for years. They had been waiting for a spark. Wu Guang and Chen Sheng led their small army to capture Dazexiang, then the nearby county of Qi, then city after city. Farmers, laborers, even disgruntled local officials flocked to join them. By the time they reached Chen, modern-day Huaiyang, in Henan, their army had swelled to tens of thousands of soldiers, hundreds of war chariots, and more than 1,000 cavalry. They established the Zheng Chu regime, meaning Great Chu revived, and Chen Sheng was crowned king. Wu Guang was named Jiao Wang, or acting king, and given command of the main rebel army to attack Xingyang, a strategic city that guarded the road to the Qing capital, Xiangyang. Wu Guang's leadership held the rebellion together. He was a steady, practical commander, loved by his soldiers unlike Chen Sheng, who grew arrogant and isolated after taking the throne. But as the rebel army advanced, internal conflict tore them apart. The Qing court, panicked by the uprising, freed prisoners and slaves to form an army led by the skilled general Zheng Han. The rebel forces were disorganized, poorly armed, and torn by jealousy. One of Wu Guang's subordinates, a man named Tianzang, disagreed with Wu Guang's battle plan for Xingyang. Tianzang believed Wu Guang was arrogant and ignorant of military strategy, a claim that modern historians view as a cover for personal ambition. In a brutal act of betrayal, Tianzang forged an order from Chen Sheng, accused Wu Guang of treason, and executed him. He sent Wu Guang's head to Chen Sheng, who, weakened and desperate, did not punish Tianzang. He promoted him. Wu Guang, the man who had given everything to start the rebellion, was killed, not by Qin soldiers, but by the very movement he had built. His death marked the beginning of the end for the Zheng Chu regime. Without Wu Guang's steady hand and popular support, the rebel army fell apart. Zheng Han's Qin forces crushed the rebels, and Chen Sheng was assassinated by his own charioteer a short time later. The Dazexiang Uprising failed militarily, but its legacy was eternal. Wu Guang and Chen Sheng did not just start a rebellion, they proved that the Qin Empire was not unbeatable. They gave courage to millions, including Xiang Yu and Liu Bang, who would later finish the job and destroy the Qin Dynasty. Within 2 years of Wu Guang's death, the Qin Empire collapsed, ending 15 years of tyrannical rule. If you enjoyed this journey into ancient China, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more epic history. See you next time.